Annie, welcome to Awards Buzz. Thank you so much for your time.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. First of all, congratulations on your Emmy nomination. You're a previous winner, so you're back to the club, and back with another nomination. What was the morning like and the announcement like?
Well, I was at work and do you know what? I was actually having quite a nitty gritty meeting with producers, and one of my assistants, Jovana, who's also worked on Mary and George, texted me. I just went, oh, and by the way, you're dealing with an Emmy-nominated costume designer. But no, it was really, really exciting. So, and very. I mean, I keep saying this, but you forget how big America is and how much television is produced, and how big the competition is. I mean, to get nominated is phenomenal. I mean, it really has struck me this time of the scale of this, and I'm humbled by it, I'd say.
You
I'm
know,
delighted.
you bring up an interesting point, which is that these nominations and these wins really do bring your work into a new audience, into a new light, and especially for people who work behind the scenes, unfortunately, they're not, honored or put in the spotlight the way that they should be. How does having that recognition then maybe help you sort of honor your craft or advocate for the work that you have to do on set?
I mean, for me, this nomination is an acknowledgement of the craftsmanship that went into the costumes, and my team. As it's not just me. Believe me, it's not just me. There were about 150 of us at full tilt, and they are so talented and so dedicated and so enthusiastic. I was telling people to go home. It's like, you cannot stay here all night. Just go home. And I think that kind of level of enthusiasm and energy and kind of curiosity really shows in the work. So I'm very, very pleased for everybody that that their work is being recognized um,
And
within
you
this.
do share this nomination with a team of four other people. Can you talk about the collaboration and the shared vision and how that works when there is sort of, multiple people and your role within it all?
Well, I'm a bit of a despot. I mean, my assistant Courtney kept saying, I mean, I drew pretty much everything, and at a certain point, I said, "Oh, can't you choose? I'm exhausted," because there was so much of it. And she said, "Well, I could, but you won't like it." And I said, "I'll go on, just go and choose some buttons." And she came back, and I said, "Oh," and she said, "I told you, I told you." So, I mean, the thing is about assistants is they support the ideas and they take it forward. They move it forward, and they enable it. It's like Courtney is. I mean, she's a super assistant. She's American, actually. She did a lot of time on Broadway and in the States in films, but she lives here now. And she was like I don't know, she was like a portal. She allowed me to think and just presented stuff to me when I needed to focus on those things. And every day I'd do the walk around the workroom, and she'd come with me, and we'd see how things were progressing. But I mean, there was a lot to do, like from choosing fabrics to doing the designs to choosing the people and talking to every single one of those makers about how to push things forward. And then so Courtney was my right arm, really. Jovana spent a lot of time on set. I mean, I got to set whenever I could to establish new stuff, but the distances we were traveling were pretty intense as well, because we were shooting in all these stately homes all around the outskirts of London, and the traveling times were huge. So you'd have to figure out, and if you had to do you'd have to start in the workroom at whatever time in the morning, 6:30, and get to set for you know, a shot at 9 o'clock, to grab your actor to do a fitting, to and then go on to somewhere, you know, it was a lot of moving around. So Yovana was like the anchor woman on the set, as well as Sarah, but I could only have X number of other people in the list, you know. And of course we had our whole set team, and then Cedric was he's the supervisor. He just masterminded the whole of the logistics, the whole of the managing people, setting up the workroom in a very, very short space of time. You know, we printed, we dyed, we had a dye village, we had a rough maker, we had 4 principal cutters, we had jewelry, leatherwork, all of that on site, because it's the only way to do it quickly. You have to set up these vast workrooms. And then so he managed all of that. And I set the budget with him initially. I said, look, this is where I think the money needs to go. Then he managed all of that with his team. And then Jason Airy, he's I've worked with Jason a lot. I've worked with Courtney and Yovana quite a bit, and Cedric. I've worked with them all. You know, it helps when you know your people and you know the language. Jason looked after or headed up crowd for me, which, I mean, crowd is a very important part of it as far as I'm concerned. It's, if you're doing a painting, you've got your background, your middle ground, your foreground, who are your principals, but you've got to get those elements right, whether it's in terms of color or style, or getting away with things that you can't get away with on principles. So I quite often I check up on the crowd fittings as well, and they made a lot. They made a huge amount. So and Jason and I talked all the time. So, and we were making stuff in Spain, France, not Italy. We were getting fabrics from all over Europe and America. It was a massive operation. It was a beautiful machine, It was a beautiful machine. And we also worked incredibly well with hair and makeup design, Paul Gooch, Morag Ross, Kerry Warren, Helen Scott, production designer, the DOPs, Alex Steinem, who DOP'd this first episode. It was a truly collaborative experience. Production were fantastic. They gave me the support and the license to just do it. I said, I've got no time. You've just got to trust me. You've just got to let me do it. And I went, okay, off you go. And that is in TV,
I appreciate your answer, because I think a lot of people who watch, obviously they appreciate the beauty of it. And I, just watching myself, I felt like there were so many different places to look. It was almost like eye candy on screen, but we don't really realize just the sheer volume of what goes into making it happen. Can you tell me a little bit, just, I'm curious, numbers wise, like how many pieces were there? What were you making? What were you sourcing? How long did you have for research and to put it all together?
Okay, well, the hard facts are I got hired and started on October the 3rd, and we started shooting on January the 9th. And that included like a 2-week break at Christmas. So
Wow.
we had 9 weeks, pretty much 11, 10, 9 weeks to set up everything and get everything made for our first few weeks of shooting. That included going to Spain, to Italy, to France, and the UK, to try and source anything that was available, because this was a new period. We made pretty much everything, and it included me flying out to Savannah to meet Julianne, fit on her shapes, come back, choose all the principal makers. And at this time it was still kind of post-COVID, and there was so much work happening. It was really challenging getting a crew, but we ended up with a very, very good crew makers, people I trust enormously. And cool, what was your question? I'm just burbling on now.
So no, I love it. Just like the numbers. I mean, how many pieces did you guys end up making? Do you have any clue?
I've got no idea. I couldn't even begin to make it up. Thousands, I'd imagine, if you include crowd. In terms of individual pieces, tens of thousands. But I mean, actual costumes, 2,000 maybe. I don't know, loads, loads.
That just boggles my mind. I can't imagine. I have to ask you about Julianne Moore because she is quite literally my favorite actress and the reason that I love movies. I saw her in Far From Heaven and I just went, "Who is that?" And it is a love affair ever since then. What was it like working with her, but also to dress her, especially as somebody who is such an icon, to didn't transform into another icon is quite daunting.
I think, the fact that she chose to do this was such a treasure in itself, because she is this phenomenal actress with this phenomenal body of work, who plays extraordinary people. And I think the wealth of that gave everybody courage and excitement. It was thrilling. And she's the most, it sounds corny, but professional. She's so pragmatic, she's so focused, she's so good at giving people the time they need to do their work. And she'd never done deep period before. I mean, she'd never worn anything like this, so it was all new to her. And she just said, "Look, I trust you. You know what you're doing. I just want to be comfortable." And I think, and I talked to her about what, when, where, how, and there were colours that she wasn't keen on, so we didn't do that. But you know, she really is worth listening to, because she knows her stuff. And you need to let her, all actors, but her in particular, do what they have to do best. And to make her comfortable was the goal. It was, and tell the story with the clothes. And I'd say, "Okay, we got this today, what do you think?" She said, "Do you like it?" I said, "Yeah." And she said, "I like it." And it was she gave me confidence, to do what I had to do, and knowing that she could do what she needed to do. You've got to let actors get out there and feel like they believe who they are, why they're wearing it. um
Annie, you also have an incredible body of work. I'm curious how working on something of this scale and this magnitude maybe changes your relationship to your craft. I mean, how does it inspire you? How do you move forward having done such a large operation? How does that feed into what you do next and sort of how you view your work?
well, I mean, it's curious because it is addictive. I love what I do, I really love it. And Mary and George was one of those. I mean, despite the challenges of time and blah de blah de blah, I felt like my team and I were so engaged and so thrilled to be doing it. It just feeds you, it literally feeds you. Even though, as Courtney, on the last week that I was designing right up to the last week of the shoot, I was lying on the floor, I was so tired, and she gave me a piece of paper and I just said, "I need one more drawing. I can't. She said, "You have to do it." So but I think the sort of expectation was, "Oh, there'll be another one like this." But of course, the world changed again. And the commissions are not for period at the moment. So I'm currently doing a contemporary job, which, to begin with, I thought, "Oh no, I'm really not in my comfort zone here. I don't know what I'm doing here." And contemporary is a very different type of job. It could be a different job, actually, because the process is so different. But I'm working with a great bunch of people, and I've found a way to have fun with it, so that the actors are fantastic, the writers are fantastic, and they trust me. And it's very different, and it's not what I expected to be doing. But as my agent said, well, nobody will expect you to do a contemporary job. Do a contemporary job. And I went, okay, all right.
There's so much that I wish I could ask you, and I could take all the time in the world. Is there anything that we haven't discussed that you would like to mention here?
um no, I mean, I am truly grateful to you know the people who put their trust in me and said, you know we know you know what you're doing, just do it. I mean, that included Sky, Stars, Hera, Oliver, the director. I think, at some level, if you take a job on like this, you are possibly verging on the psychopathic, because to take on that amount of stress is really, really sort of, ambition will take you a long way. But, it's like at a certain point, there's so much going on. And your brain is firing all the time for so many months. I think there's madness there, and it's not sustainable by any means, But I did feel very well supported by my team, and also by the producers and by the actors, and and that it obviously it we're talking about costume and my process. I think it was a collaborative thing. The production designer, the hair and makeup designer, Julianne's team. I think we all knew we were doing something really interesting and good, and we wanted to do it well. And I think that just brings you up every day. It lifts you up. So yeah, I mean, I think I think I was very lucky in a way to be given the opportunity to be given this opportunity. And Oliver's he's a visionary director, and to have people like that who you can have interesting conversations with. I said to him, look, at one point I said, look, we can contemporize this. I can put all the guys in leather trousers and blah blah blah. We can make it cool and sexy. But I said, but these shapes are mad, and I think we should go with it. I think we should just get into this period big time, and then just soften it up, loosen it up, and give you what you want, which is the ability for your actors to behave in this consensual, sensual, licentious way. And yeah, I think it was one of those jobs where everybody was cohesive. And I mean, a lot of them are, but this one was special. I will say that it was special.
It was a flash of madness and a flash of brilliance. Annie, thank you so much. I can't wait to see what a contemporary Annie project looks like. That's going to be so exciting. I hope I get to talk to you about it.
Well, it'd be interesting to see what comes out. I mean,
I guess we're both on the edge of our seats here. We'll see.
Who knows? Might be terrible.
No, I don't buy that. Thank you so much for your time. I truly cannot tell you how much I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Nice to talk to you.